Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Luke,
I'm Logan.
and today we're going to be talking about some of the big movie releases from 2025 as we have just entered 2026. So, do you have any movies you'd like to start off with?
I will start off with one that me and you saw together, and I don't think this will be on very many people's best of 2025, but it was certainly on mine. The Death of a Unicorn.
Yes.
Very, I don't know. It wasn't under the radar, I guess, just because like people know what it is.
Yeah.
But also a lot of people just didn't care.
Yeah, it's A24, and it's definitely just what you can expect from something like that. It's like kind of a goofy horror concept, and it's like fun horror. So they come up with all these like silly rules of like unicorns in their world,
Yeah.
and what unicorn blood does, and it's Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
So, Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega, Will Poulter, and then I don't know the two parents actors' names, but I know that I've seen them in a lot of stuff. So,
Yeah.
that was definitely an interesting one. It was just overall a fun movie. I'd say it's very A24. That was probably one of the more A24 movies I've watched.
Yeah. I mean, just the concept. It's a cool concept. Unicorns, there's all these rules established for them and whatever. They're tied to the forest that they live in and blah, 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 blah. They get mean. They get vicious. But,
get run down by a car and then comes back to life angry.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then their body, their blood, and their horns and all that have the ability to like cure any ailment that you have and whatever.
Yeah. Will Poulter like doing bumps of grinded up unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Becomes enlightened. Opens the third eye by just doing lines of unicorn horn.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting one. So I'd say in terms of like best of 2025, probably not like across the board. Like some people will be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
But that's just a fun movie.
Yeah.
So that's a fun start here. Well, I'll go to another one that I know you and I saw together, which I think is probably one of the more unique movies that came out in 2025, which was Sinners. And I've always felt like if you can pull off action and horror together, it makes like a really good combination if it's done right. And I think this movie did like a really good job of that. And it just felt with going into kind of that sort of vibe of like Louisiana black magic 1930s era, mixed with like vampires in a very like evil sense, and just the whole aesthetic of that I thought was very cool. And then honestly, yeah, the acting in that movie was also fantastic.
Incredible, yeah.
Which, I feel like I've come to expect that from Michael B. Jordan a lot, but also the rest of the cast members did a great job in that as well.
I'm trying to think just because I'm trying to weigh the options. Honestly, I think that would probably be my favorite movie of 2025.
I think that's my number one as well. Because also, like, it was so, like, stylized of the twins Smoke and Stack, and the music aspect of it being an actual supernatural part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the vampires themselves are pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was like a timepiece mixed with horror and action, and like actually pulled off with really talented casts. So
Yeah.
that was a really good one. That was just a great movie overall.
It was a great movie. And I mean, it was one of those things where like going into it, you're like, yeah, like this is a cool concept. It'll probably be pretty good. But then it was like just way better than you could have imagined it would have been, like going into it.
Well, something I remember sitting in the theater thinking while I was watching that was, it gets to about 45 minutes into the movie, and I was sitting there like, nothing even remotely supernatural has happened yet. But I know it will happen. But I was like, and I've still been entertained this whole time. So it's not just the on paper story of what you know is coming is keeping you entertained. It was like just the actors and like the setup here is entertaining as well. Yeah.
Just also absolutely insane quality in terms of just, you know, the way that it was shot and the acting and the characters and the writing. It was phenomenal through and through. So I mean, you know, that was pretty awesome. I think that's kind of another reason why, you know, stood apart.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Because it too, you know, there's so many like run-of-the-mill vampire movies, so that always is like a concern with an idea that's just like it's about this. Like, it's about vampires. And it's like, yes, it's about vampires, but in a very just unique setting, in a very cool way to pull them off. Was very well done. Yeah, you want to jump over to another one here?
I will do another one that me and you have both seen. And this one was one that me and you were both very excited for, but came out on the other end kind of... It's not bad. It wasn't bad. It's just underwhelming, I guess. It's the best way to put it. But that would be Weapons. The concept was there. The advertising for it was there. You know, a lot of people were excited about it. And it was good. Like, it was well made, and it was, you know...
Yeah.
It was just, as, you know, you're watching it, there's, like, creepy moments and stuff. And there's weird stuff happening. But, like, the payoff, I don't know. I don't know if the payoff actually, you know, I don't think it really worked for me. After you find out what's happening, I'm like... Because also, after the initial, like, the kids ran away and all that, it kind of was just like, all right, they're trying to find them. Like, that's fine. That makes sense. Whatever. And then it gets to a point where you're like, well, now you know what's happening, but it's just not, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Just a witchy woman.
Yeah. And we talked about this too. It felt like it deserved a more complicated explanation of what happened. So for the first half of the movie, when it was still largely a mystery, I liked it a lot because it was also unique with just the way that movie unfolds of like you're seeing what's going on from... It's the same story from different perspectives, right? And I think once you get to the halfway point and you're like, okay, well, it's clearly this woman who's doing it, but I don't know what she's doing. And then it's just like, okay, she's a witch and she took the kids.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay. I think it's okay that it's a supernatural explanation, and I still liked it overall. I felt like it would have been more interesting for it to be like some weird, like supernatural, but more in like a scientific way, is what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
But just it being a witch, I thought was just like, okay, all right, that's fine. It's
fine, like whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, and like once you get toward the end of the movie, they establish like rules with like what she's doing and stuff, and like, you know, how she does her spells and whatnot, and like I guess like that, like those kind of details add to the story a little bit, just because, you know, it's not just like, oh, she's doing this and now they're under her control forever, whatever. But at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it's just a witch. She's gonna use a spell to restore her youth, and that's it. Like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, also, in terms of, you know, which this is set in like modern times, so it's a little bit different than like, you know, other stuff that you've seen. But like as far as witches go, like movie witches and stuff, okay, she's fine, you know.
Yeah, it was just, I liked the first half. The back half was okay, but I started to lose interest after the first perspective where she was introduced into what's going on.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because also at that point it goes from being like, whoa, there's this crazy mystery, these kids are going missing, you know. It wasn't like overly scary, like that wasn't like its real goal, but there were like scary things happening. Like every once in a while you get like a really like, scary scene or like a jump scare or something that's like kind of creepy.
Just really bizarre stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, and then the mystery's going on. So like that was entertaining, and then the latter half, she first shows up, and then it just becomes like, okay, like, well, this is what she's doing.
Yeah.
This is what everybody else is doing, trying to look for the kids. The mystery kind of just unravels, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Now they're just trying to find them.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an enjoyable movie. It just the ending was kind of just like okay.
Yeah, it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll jump over into the superhero side of things here, and I'll start with Superman.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Superman a lot, and I thought it was a good introduction into the new direction for DC. And I thought it was what you want from like the stand-up guy Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So in that regard, and just how comic booky it felt and wasn't shining away from that, I thought that was a pretty good movie. That was a pretty solid start.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and we've talked about Superman many times since it came out, so we'll make this brief, but
yeah.
I thought that in terms of trying to revamp the DC cinematic universe and everything, Superman was a great start. The way that it was, written to be ultra comic booky and stuff, more so like, putting a comic on screen than making a movie about comics is pretty cool. Yeah, I think they should continue with that trend, and it will go very well for the James Gunn DC universe. But
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess we'll see what happens when Supergirl comes out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do you have any more to say?
Take the lead here.
Okay.
No, that's all I have on
All
Superman,
right.
honestly.
We'll skip through the other superhero stuff because we've talked about all of it a ton already.
Oh,
but
yeah.
the Marvel stuff, Captain America, Fantastic Four, what was the other one? Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. I was missing Thunderbolts. I thought there was one more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked about them a ton. Brave New World, it was alright. Thunderbolts was way better than I expected. Really awesome.
Yeah.
I thought that all of the characters in that actually having like more depth was really cool, because a lot of those characters, I mean, you saw them do stuff, but like they didn't have a ton of like depth and backstory. So all of them getting their own kind of screen time, their own time in the limelight, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sentry was cool.
Sentry was like a highlight.
Yeah. Sentry was a highlight.
Which was expected.
Yeah, and then Void, also insane.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool little end fight there. And then moving on to my favorite, probably one of my favorite Marvel movies in recent memory, Fantastic Four. The world building was really cool. The characters were cool. They all played their characters. The actors played their characters really well. The setting and everything, pretty awesome.
Yeah. I thought Fantastic Four specifically was unique as a superhero movie because it wasn't like there's a villain like terrorizing the world or the city, like how do we stop him? It was like there's an inevitable problem that is going to happen, and they like had to find a way to fix it. And I like that it took place over like the span of, wasn't it like over a year? That just, I feel like that doesn't happen with superhero movies anymore. Most of them are pretty like fast paced.
Yeah.
Most of the story is coming across in the action of what's going on. And it's not that there aren't action scenes, but it's very much like the public is in crisis, and the Fantastic Four is almost like this political figure of like, what are they going to do to save us? And it's like, somewhere out there's something coming that can't be stopped. And then even when that starts happening, it's like, it's not a straight up fight. It's like how do we handle this without dying?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, just the way like the characters were, like more so, like rather than like just fighting and like saving the city and everything. Like there was more like interaction between characters and stuff like that. Interaction between like what's going on with them and like their world and stuff like that. So that was one of those movies to where like honestly, even though it wasn't like crazy fast paced, you could have made that movie 4 hours long and it probably wouldn't have felt too drawn out still.
Yeah.
Just because it's just you're seeing these characters interact with their world.
Yeah. And also, last thing I'll say about it, but we've talked about it, that the team itself was great. Galactus was very like threatening, despite just being, he wasn't like destroying worlds himself like with the palm of his hand or anything, but he was like intimidating and like unstoppable basically. And Silver Surfer was also very cool in that movie. Yeah. Well, I'll jump to one that was a big release, and I feel like this is another controversial one, was 28 Years Later. Which, this is another movie. I felt like the first half of it was great, and then the middle was still like, alright, like I'm kind of still with it, and then the last like third of it was just kind of odd.
Yeah.
Which, it's 28 years set in this like apocalyptic setting, so I expect some weird stuff. It was just weird more so in a sense of like where the story is going.
Yeah.
Just was kind of odd at that point.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I kind of agree with like the setting, like the story and where it's going and all that. Like, it's, you know, like you said, set 28 years after this apocalyptic event started happening. So, you know, it makes sense that it would be like, you know, the dynamic of everything would be a little bit off. Like, it'd be kind of odd. But I'm curious about the direction as well, because there's the second part of it comes out literally like next week. And, I mean, at the very end, you know what I mean, the tracksuit Power Rangers show up, and you're like, dude, what is going on? Like, what are we about to segue into? Because like, as like the start of, you know, the first one, they're just on their little island. They barely go to the mainland. They're just kind of, you know, making it work, and like, you know, that makes sense. Like, that's cool. But then you know, it's seemingly setting up a segue into the boy meeting these other people and going on this journey and whatnot. And but why? What is, you know, what's happening with this? Like, what would the resolution to this possibly be?
Yeah, and I'm not incredibly excited for the sequel. Another thing is, we talked about it, it's coming out very shortly, and it's like I had no idea it's coming out right away like that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked the action scenes with like him and his dad a lot, and then when he's going back with his mom, I thought was pretty cool. I like the whole thing with the land bridge between their little like isolated place. I thought there were some scenes which were just like really unique, and some like concepts that they introduced about, you know, like how the rest of the world views the UK now, and like the alpha zombies and stuff like that was interesting. And we talked about this too in another episode. Bless you.
Thank you.
There's just stuff in that where it feels like there's weird symbolism about certain things just like thrown in at random points, and it's like, what exactly is this symbolizing? Because then it goes back to what's going on, and it's like, I'm not seeing where this is overlapping.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, because like with like the weird symbolism and stuff like that, I'm like, is this like a like social commentary, or is this like alluding to something else within like the universe or like the movies, or like, because I'm not getting what you're saying, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, you'll notice it, like they'll make it obvious, but then it's like, I don't know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is all about, because I mean, as far as as far as it goes, like there's not like a oh, like this is what they're trying to say. It's kind of just like, oh, that's kind of odd. I wonder what that's about. And then there's never really like a there it is.
Yeah. So overall, I'd say it was like a solid movie. Just the back third of it kind of dragged a little bit, and it went to a weird, very strange spot at the
Yeah,
ending.
yeah, I
So,
agree.
I guess that's the main thing of like, the next one is, where does it go from there?
Yeah.
You know. Um. Okay, I think that's most of the ones you and I've seen together that are like the big ones from the
Yeah.
past year. So I was gonna ask you to tell me about what you thought of the Frankenstein movie.
I thought the Frankenstein movie, Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein, it was incredible. It was astonishingly beautiful the way that it was shot. Um, I mean, it's pretty run of the mill kind of Frankenstein, but it gives you a little bit of, I don't know, the like beauty of the story, the way that they have it is more so rather than like, oh yeah, like it's about Victor and creating the monster and all that. That is a big chunk of like the first probably 45 minutes of the movie is like Victor being ambitious and wanting to do this thing, and he's trying to get other people to believe in him and stuff like that. So like Victor is a huge part of it, but after the monster is created, then it switches and it's like, well, it's not about Victor anymore. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's about the monster and how the monster feels and like his humanity versus what Victor thinks is an abomination. And it goes into like the monster's like emotional depth and stuff, and like the monster has like this infatuation with Victor's sister-in-law. So like it's a whole thing. And like honestly, it's a really good story. Like you're entertained the entire time, but I mean the way that's shot, like it's just so like breathtaking. Like it's fantastic.
Sure.
The detail, there's no details that was like overlooked. It's just through and through pretty good story, visually beautiful. Like it's up there, probably for me top 3 this year in terms of movies.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I need to make a point of watching that because I remember you heavily endorsing it to me as well.
And you've seen, what is it? Yeah, One Battle After Another, right?
Yeah. So honestly, one battle after another, I went and saw with my girlfriend. I probably put at like number 2 as probably one of the better movies of 2025 that I watched. Just because this is a weird thing with this movie. I felt like the first trailer came out for it, and it didn't do any justice for what this movie was.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second trailer came out, and it was like, now that kind of looks interesting. And then we went and saw it, and it was like, wow, that was like, it's fun. It has a good story. It has good acting. It's funny. It's serious. I mean, it's like funny and serious. And it has, like Leonardo DiCaprio just being Leonardo DiCaprio as like a middle-aged kind of whacked out dad. But I think in terms of like storyline and such, it was very like, definitely like very politically inspired, but it was written in a way, and like the villain and the other antagonists in it are very much portrayed in a way where it's like the radical, most evil way you can imagine a like very possible thing to be scared of in like a social climate of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was just, I thought it was a very good movie. Had some it had good action to it, but it
Mhm.
had a lot of scenes which were just very well executed, in my opinion, and it wasn't what I was expecting it to be. So, I mean, without going too far into it, that's as much as I can really say about it. It was just
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of, very well rounded. That's like the kind of movie where you're like, yeah, like this is like, it's got depth to it, but it's also just enjoyable. It's action kind of movie.
Yeah. Um, all right. There's one more thing I will touch on here, and it's something because we've talked about our annoyances with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that after this year, we don't have to experience half a year of seeing Mission Impossible
Yeah.
trailers for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning
Yep.
over and over again anymore, which is cause
Yeah.
for celebration.
That is cause for celebration.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people love the Mission Impossible movies, and I'm sure I'd like them more if I went through the rest of them because I've only seen a couple of them. Just I more so have a gripe with seeing this trailer for absolutely every movie
Yep.
for months.
Doesn't matter what movie, what genre,
Yep.
doesn't matter. You're going to see Tom Cruise plastered up on that screen.
Yep. Talking about how the world needs him to save the day one more time, and then a few Tom Cruise running shots,
Yeah.
lots of explosions and gunfire.
Yeah.
I think something funny too is we made like a clip and posted it on a social, and we were talking about this specifically with this movie, and someone commented, and they were specifically like, "Believe it or not, there was more action in it than shown in the trailers," and I was just like, "Wow, all right,
That's incredible.
yeah,
How much action can there be?
yeah, but yeah, unless there's any other big ones you're wanting to touch on, I think that about does it.
Yeah, I think that about does it for me. Real quick, I guess I'll do one more because there's one more that I want to talk about. Wake Up Dead Man.
Yes.
So, I'm a big fan of Knives Out just in general. Glass Onion was pretty good. And so I was going into it thinking like, I'm going to watch it and I'm probably going to like it. But like honestly, way better than like I was like, I thought it was going to be good. So I had high expectations and it was even better than I thought it was going to be. But the story on it, just real quick, the story was pretty good. The characters were all pretty solid. The main character, Father Judd, he's awesome. And yeah, I mean, without going too far into it, really good. The plot's really good. It keeps you guessing the whole time. It's also and people have talked about this online after it came out. It has a really good depiction of like Christianity and like belief in God and all that, and like it's I mean, it doesn't throw it in your face either. Like it's not trying to like force that on you. It just happens naturally like throughout the movie because they're out of church and it's like about a priest and everything. But yeah, pretty good depiction of like faith and stuff like that, and it's not like forcing it on you.
Real quick, I know there's like Daniel Craig, but who are like some of the actors in that movie? If you can name any of them. I don't know if it's as stacked as like the other ones or anything.
Yeah, it is. I can't think of who plays Father Judd. I can't think of his name. But then there is Josh Brolin. He is the person who dies.
Okay.
Then, wow, now I'm just blanking. I can't think of any of them.
That's all right. Was Jeremy Renner in there?
Yes, yeah, Jeremy
Okay.
Renner. I was like, I
Renner.
feel like there's another huge one. I'm just not thinking. But no, the whole cast is pretty stacked. Like, there's a lot of big names. For whatever reason, I'm blanking on all of them.
Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, that I do need to watch A Glass Onion, the Glass. I don't remember what it is, but I need to watch that first. But then I want to get around to Wake Up Dead Man because I've heard they're both great.
Yeah.
And I've seen Knives Out and like Knives Out because it's just, do the other two kind of follow that same vibe as the first one of just like somewhat fun but like murder mystery kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, then I like that a lot.
Well, and honestly, like, the, you know, the whole theme of Knives Out, like the original one, was like, yo, like it's a murder mystery, who done it? Like everybody has motives, but like, you know, it's seemingly impossible. Like how could have, how this impossible crime, like who done it? All these people have reasons, whatever. And that same vibe follows throughout Glass Onion and Wake Up Dead Man. But there's like it's all like thematic though, because like Glass Onion has like still a murder mystery and all that, but like the theme is like way different than like how it feels in like the first Knives Out. Then the way that Wake Up Dead Man feels completely different than Glass Onion, other than just being like a murder mystery. Like so, it's pretty cool just to see like different location stuff. It's kind of like the board game Clue. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah, it is.
It's
like
just a kind of like the movie version of the board game Clue.
Yeah, interesting. All right. Yeah, I think that about does it for us on 2025 movies. So, this has been the My Opinion podcast. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.